You see, there is this force. The force that distinguishes in its root. This force distinguishes a man from a woman, from a biological male body to a biological female body. And there are no other genders, speaking biologically. The prime goal of nature seems to continue the life, and hence the two male and female energy, bodies, emotions and experiences. And therefore there is a deeper attraction that happens, and attraction is also when something is very unlikely to get attracted or unattractive. Also means it's in a degree of attraction, or now a degree in a negative attraction if repelling energies are felt. But the phenomenon is of attraction. This attraction brings a masculine and feminine energy into a unique setting. And because the bodies are designed to generate further more bodies, the attraction is felt even so strongly. And this attraction we call sexual attraction, sexual energy. Now the prime attraction is of something that one finds opposite and attractive. Even if it's same-sex couples, it is still opposite and attractive. Because the psyche, the core of the mind, and whatever it thinks it is, and whatever it thinks it lacks, and now the mind, which is very mechanical, tries to bring in a character, bring in a story, that mind finds fits to the gap. And this is what is the source even further of the attraction. If he looks around, finds that more compatible is a woman who speaks the language, who understands, and who is capable of fulfilling a man's bodily dharma, or in case of a woman's bodily dharma. So this root brings out in human astrology, where people look at the compatibility of a man and a woman before they get married. They check their birth calendars, they check the stars. So this is an attempt to bring in the compatibility. Once a body is or gets enough of the biological phenomenon of attraction, and that is sex, sexual activities, and the body understands its needs and functions, or the mind starts to see the pattern, the needs, the functions, then it is no more requirement of a second person for the sexual experiences. This is the state of brahmacharya, not quite celibacy, but close to celibacy. The state of brahmacharya, the witnessing of the needs, the requirements, the existence of the very phenomenon. Once all of this is seen, one can go back into indulging in biological relationships, into biological sexual relationships. But there is also another path, another door, right there in front, from where what happens after the sex can be reached immediately. Now, for a lot of people, sex finds guilt afterwards, and that is because a certain amount of energy in the body has been lost. And it was lost because a certain somebody wanted to fulfill or to immediately end his sexual fantasies, her sexual fantasies. So when this happens, there is a guilt because the biology now rests, but the mind, but the psychology does not rest. Whereas in the first place, it was the psychology of the mind that started everything, and a certain somebody pushed the idea further, gave it fertilizers, and then let it grow. And after reaching a certain point, the body cannot, or the mind cannot, or the body-mind complex cannot return back. So after this point of no return, they involve and they come out and they think. And this is the process of deeper psychology acting. And this is exactly how the human mind reacts to anything it desires. It desires a car, and the moment the car is bought, the moment the car is owned, it sees, it realizes that, okay, now what? So the bigger the desire and the bigger its fulfillment, it gives a certain rush. Just like when somebody reaches 1,000 likes in his photo or video, just a rush. And that rush finishes off. And the desire keeps on continuing. And the desire pulls about one's life for the entire life itself. And the phenomenon is always the same, that one wants something, goes for it, and finds that the charm is now gone, because the mind never stops. And this is in the core of human body-mind psychology. This is a core phenomenon of a Homo sapien body-mind complex. Now there is a part of experience that is the energy complex, or the soul, the spirit, or whatever the body cannot comprehend rightfully or completely. This energy complex has a different point of view. This energy complex sees the presence, the existence of whatever exists, and has pretty much no yes or no, neither acceptance nor negation nor denial. It is simply there witnessing. It just watches. And in the Eastern symbolism, and now all around the world, the two eyes, the horizontal two eyes, are for the earth, earthly plane that goes horizontal throughout the planet. And that is the earthly plane. That is the plane of existence in which the body moves about, goes around, does its dharma, and when the time comes, it wears off, it dies. The third eye, however, which is a vertical one, reaches for the skies, reaches for the unknown, reaches for the openness, reaches for even more boundaryless opportunities than the body had. So there is this world of energy, the energy complex, that can be experienced from this third eye, from the vertical eye. Now there are deities and symbolic representations in the East of gods who have all three eyes horizontal, the Indra and the Indrayani. Again, masculine and the feminine aspects. Like this, the inner eye or the vertical eye, the third eye, the Agnya Chakra, all of these sees the movement of energy in the required field as required, and it also realizes that the existence in general, actually, the existence in very subtle form and in very, very normal form is autonomous. The experience of all the three eyes, the experience of this biological substance, biological being, and the non-biological being, they can go together, side by side, or they can go completely to the side of the body and the physicality, or they can go completely for the side of energy complex and the spirituality. And that is the freedom of will God gave everybody. So therefore there is the possibility of will of the bodily pleasures, the samsaric pleasures, earthly, worldly pleasures, and there is the possibility of mystical experiences which are beyond pleasure or pain. And the law of the physical universe, the physical existence, is that to have a physical pleasure, one must go through the physical pain. And therefore, there are also people who enjoy the pain. And there are also people who enjoy giving the pain, who finds pleasure in the pain. And there is a plane of existence which is beyond pleasure and pain. And that is the true, everlasting experience of the existence. And this everlasting is eternal. It was and it will be eternal. And that also means it will be in the presence forever. And the being that understands, that sees this eternal existence, is the existence itself. In other words, the existence, this universe started, and some chemicals started getting together and forming cells which grew up, mutated. Some of them came together, formed colonies, and started combining themselves, ultimately to lead multicellular, multi-organic species. And finally, the development of these species was able to walk upright vertically and have a growth of consciousness and have a growth of a third eye from which the universe can see itself. The existence can see itself. And all these mystical experiences can happen. So everyone has a choice, 100% free will to which of the eyes, the horizontal or the vertical, one wants to use. And it does not matter if one does not go through the mystical experiences of life, because the biology will then just decay, become old and die. And most of us won't even know about the mystical experiences and never know the process of meditation, the process of death, the process of flowering, maturity, nirvana, Christ consciousness. Many names can be given because they are mystical. They find their own names. It does not matter in general for many people if they don't attend these, they don't realize of these experiences and the existence of these experiences. But the core universal phenomenon is that the only thing that matters to each individual is his or her own experience, his or her own time on earth, his or her own experience, his or her own stories of own lives. Each individual is subject of experiencing his or her own life. And therefore, if one enjoys the pain, so be it. If one enjoys the pleasure, so be it. And if one enjoys an existence beyond pleasure and pain, so be it. And this is the reason why God or the existence never interferes into the affairs of human beings, because it is the human beings itself that brings about the changes, that attracts the energies, that attracts the things that it wants to attract, and live accordingly. So everyone is by their own in a thin rope walking about the life. If they enjoy the fall, they fall, then again come back to the rope and walk. If they enjoy the flight, they fly. If they enjoy the walk, they walk. It is all but the phenomenon of energies, and that includes life, biological life, its needs, its pleasures, psychological lives, its needs and pleasures, or the life of energy, or the spiritual life. Everything exists, just the matter where one tunes its existence. And there are methods of tuning oneself into various energies, various experiences. And that is for another day. This much for today.